You know, people will say, well, I thought God was a God of love. Well, he is a God of love. He is love. But here's the thing. You know, I love my two daughters. My two daughters are grown now. But there was a time when they were still growing up. We lived in a house, and we didn't live on a busy street, but we still lived in a house that was on a street. And as they were beginning to grow, they got bicycles, and they wanted to ride their bicycles out in the street. And we said, okay, as parents, we love our kids. We love our kids. Okay? And so as their parents, we said, okay, you can ride out in the street, but you have to be sure that you look both ways. Look both ways, left and then right and then left again before you walk out into the street, before you ride your bike out into the street, right? So love does not say, oh yeah, you go, if you want to play out in traffic, you go right ahead. Traffic understands. That's what the screwed up world says love is. They say love is to tolerate everything, to permit everything. But that is not love. Love has rules. Love has boundaries. As I would never tell my kids, and my kids, they would ride their bike down the driveway or down the front yard, right into the street, and we watched them as mom and dad, we watched them out the front door, and neither one of them looked to the left or looked to the right. Not at all. They just looked straight ahead and went right out into the street. And so we had to have a talk with them. Hey, we told you, if you're going to ride your bike in the street, you got to look both ways. We don't want you to ride out in front of a car. Why? Because we don't love you and we want to make your life miserable. That is not it, is it? See, it's obvious when we're talking about it in this context. But this is exactly the same thing with regard to LGBTQ. You know, I'm starting to break out in tongues. It's the same thing with that. We're not trying to put boundaries around people because we hate them and want to make them miserable. We're trying to put boundaries around them because of the love of God that is there present to save them from destruction that awaits them if they continue in the direction that they're going. So we had to have a talk with our kids. Hey, we told you, if you are going to ride out in the street, you're going to have to look both ways. So again, we stepped back, we observed, again, right down the driveway, right into the street, not look, not look, not look. All right, that's it. You are not allowed to ride in the street anymore. Why? Because you don't bother looking, and we don't want you riding into traffic. It could be dangerous. It could be damaging. We're not going to allow that because we love you. If we didn't love you, oh, go ahead, ride out in traffic. Traffic understands. Go ahead, ride out in front of traffic. Well, you know, if something happens to you, well, that's just the way it is. That would be abuse. That would be abusive and not love.